So the first thing is, what is this cardio technique that actually spares muscle or may even build some? Well, cardio is a little bit misleading because we're not technically getting into the aerobic system, we're staying in the anaerobic system. But I'll get right to it. The movement that I'm talking about is uphill sprints. So why uphill sprints in particular? Well, the principle is that you're moving your muscle as quickly as possible and you're creating a stretch reflex, and it's not creating as much impact though as you would be with regular sprints. Now, when you're moving that quickly and you're creating a stretch reflex, you are training your type 2 muscle fibers. So these are the ones that actually respond to load or velocity, and they grow from either that load or velocity. And sort of the wisdom in it is, like I said, the SAID principle, which I've talked about before, which stands for specific adaptations to imposed demands. The body understands that it needs to keep muscle because it still needs to move quickly, and it needs to drop dead weight, and that dead weight being fat. That's sort of the training wisdom behind it, but the science backs it up. And if you get into the scientific data, you'll notice that with sprinting and other sort of HIIT training or high intensity interval training, there's something called the EPOC effect, which is exercise post-oxygen consumption. And sprinting, and if you do this, I'll talk about structuring it later, but you can be burning calories and burning fat for up to about 48 hours, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days if you do a really good one later. So you're burning fat for up to 2 days after your sprinting session, which is really cool, right? Be careful if you're out of shape though. I mean, any sprinting or any high velocity stuff, if you're just jumping into this, you're going to get hurt, because that's where injuries happen, is particularly on high velocity things, particularly on the eccentric load. So if you're loading a muscle very quickly as it's elongating, that's when you're going to get pulled. So you definitely have to ease into something like this. Generally, how I structure this is with a general mobility flow warm up, then do 3 sets of increasing intensity, and then you're going to do 5 to 8 working sets with about 2 to 3 minutes in between each set. You do want to recover fully between your uphill sprints. You'll just get way more out of the actual sprint when you do it, and it also decreases your risk for injury. So that's tip number 1 for today. Uphill sprints are going to be your best bet at maintaining muscle. Again, because the body knows that, understands that it needs to hold on to muscle because it needs that strength to get up the hill, but it will drop the dead weight, the body fat, and it does this through the EPOC system. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and if you found the content useful and you really think it's going to make a better version of yourself and stronger version of yourself, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and hit that bell icon as well. And lastly, please leave a comment, as I'd like to know your opinion on this topic and what else you'd like to hear about. So thanks again, guys, and stay strong.